Tonight, heavy vehicles go under the microscope in Port Augusta. And the while a Christmas pageant moves from the City Plaza streets to our computer screens.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for your company. First tonight, hundreds of trucks and buses driving on the Augusta Highway have been stopped for inspection as part of a 4-day safety blitz. Laura Milovanovic has the details.
Every truck and bus heading north on the Augusta Highway from Friday through to last night had to pull in here at the Stirling North Heavy Vehicle Testing Station. The operation was a joint venture between the Safety and Compliance Sector of the National Heavy Vehicle Regulator and South Australia Police. Officers were out for the 4 days straight across the day and night, checking each vehicle using the highway. The roads in and out of Port Augusta play a crucial role in the national transport network. An estimated 8,000 to 10,000 vehicles ranging from cars and caravans to heavy vehicles travel along the Augusta Highway each day as they make their way across the country. The operation covered a broad range of tests to ensure both the vehicle and driver were equipped to be on the road. Vehicle inspectors searched around cars for damage or unsafe parts. Trucks were guided onto the weighing station to ensure their load was proportioned correctly. Drivers were questioned on their journey to ensure they had adequate rest and had filled out work diary requirements. The National Heavy Vehicle Regulator did not comment before deadline. It's the first operation of its type carried out in recent months, with COVID travel restrictions forcing them to be abandoned.
A bill banning the sale of LPG gas cylinders without warning labels is expected to be debated in South Australia's Parliament tomorrow. It follows the death of Port Lincoln teenager Paddy Ryan, who died after inhaling gas earlier this year. Despite Treasurer Rob Lucas stating the government would oppose it, Peter Treloar says he'll vote in favour.
Having stickers on gas bottles might just be the difference between one person taking part in this very dangerous exercise and not taking part. So I'm supportive of the legislation as it is, and it should go to a vote tomorrow.
Passage of the bill hangs on a slim margin in the lower house. New figures show South Australia's gel blaster owners are taking their time to apply for a licence. South Australian Police say just 11 applications have been made so far, nearly a week after new laws passed state parliament. Changes to the Firearms Act mean owners have to surrender them or apply for a gun licence. So far, more than 100 blasters have been handed into police stations. Police say applications for gel blaster permits are being prioritised. Whyall's Chamber of Commerce is holding a special celebration for businesses in the Steel City this week. They say there has never been a more deserving time to recognise local operators, with many powering through the struggles of 2020.
Hailing the city's hard workers at a time when it's needed most.
There's never been a better year to celebrate business in the community with COVID-19. Obviously, everybody's been doing it pretty hard, so we're pretty excited to have the annual dinner.
And with the ongoing effects of COVID-19 still looming, the Chamber is determined to hold a celebration in their honour.
We're all fired up and ready to go. And of course, you know, there's the Apprentice of the Year, there's Trainee of the Year. So there's lots of exciting awards that'll be handed out.
Set for this Friday, the Chamber of Commerce will be hosting its annual Business of the Year awards. A number of local stalwarts are in the mix.
Some of the ones that I can think of the top of my head was Des's Cabs, which of course we know is a great over 50-year family business. They're in the mix. There's John Cagney and his chemist chain.
The Air Hotel also on the list for its outside-of-the-box thinking during the height of COVID-19, offering takeaway to locals.
We as a group are very happy with the number of entries we've had this year, and it's quite exciting, and so we're full steam ahead for Friday night.
The Chamber encouraging friends and family to come along and show support, but with COVID restrictions in place, you'll need to get in quick to secure a ticket.
Now that we've been advised that some of the restrictions have been lifted, won't be able to have dancing, but everything else will be there, beautiful food and wines.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A major tourist attraction. That's the vision organisers have for a new Port Lincoln museum. The proposed area would showcase the region's rich history, from its Indigenous owners through to sports clubs and the fishing industry.
Dormant and gathering dust, rooms in Port Lincoln's heritage railway station lie idle, but a new project could help give this century-old building a new lease on life.
There is no general Port Lincoln museum in town, and it's been something that a lot of people have wanted for many, many years.
The top floor of the station hoped to be transformed into a new museum after its previous occupant, One Rail, vacated the building last month. Eyre Peninsula's Preservation Society, who run a railway museum on the bottom floor, coming up with the idea.
We would love to see the fishing industry contributing here. Sporting groups, the various sports could each have their own area.
It's a large space divided into multiple rooms from a time when it was a bustling office. Organisers say the area could fit up to 20 different displays. Port Lincoln already has 4 museums, Mill Cottage, Axel Stenros and the RSL and Railway Museum, but this proposed project would combine a piece of them all and more.
Very simply, it would become a new major tourist attraction.
Peter says each display would have its own curator to help guide visitors through the museum.
So we're not asking for heavy financial commitments or anything like that, just simply a cooperative approach.
More information can be found via the Eyre Peninsula Railway Preservation Society. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, a unique piece of the Eyre Peninsula's history digitised, and coronavirus changes this year's Wyler Christmas pageant. Welcome back. A man has been reported for drink driving after being allegedly caught nearly 5 times the legal limit in Port Pirie. The 20-year-old was stopped by police and submitted to a random roadside breath test, allegedly recording a blood alcohol reading of 0.247. He was issued with an instant 12-month loss of licence, and his vehicle was impounded for 28 days. He will be summoned to appear in court at a later date. Meanwhile, an unlicensed driver will appear in court after she was caught drink driving in Port Augusta yesterday. Police attempted to stop a blue Ford Escape on the Eyre Highway for a mobile driver test. However, the driver refused to stop. The car was eventually pulled over on Corunna Road, where the 28-year-old woman allegedly recorded a blood alcohol reading of 0.220. The woman will face court at a later date. Wyler's Christmas pageant will run slightly different this year, with the event set to be held virtually. With COVID-19 forcing the annual City Plaza event to be cancelled, organisers say they're getting creative in a bid to keep the tradition alive.
This fun, festive day filled with floats and groups of locals is always a special time of the year for all ages.
I've been running a Christmas pageant for several years now, and my personal opinion is I think a Christmas pageant's been getting better and better over the last 5 years. I think we've been getting more numbers.
But as a result of COVID-19, this year's event will look slightly different.
We've got some exciting news that the pageant will now go ahead, however in a very different format to what we are used to.
Apex and City Council working together to come up with the digital idea.
Essentially, so that people don't miss out altogether, they can still submit some videos to us and we'll put something together and put it on live on Facebook when the pageant was otherwise going to be shown.
Organisers encourage locals to get creative, dusting off previous floats and even making new ones. Locals will need to film themselves as if they were travelling down the city's main strip, but this time from their own backyard.
It would be good to get the broader community involved as well. So anyone that wants to send a bit of a Christmas message, you know, get dressed up in their Christmas gear and have some bit of fun with that, then yeah, they're welcome to submit something to us as well.
And submitting the video is easy. All you have to do is visit Council's Facebook page and click on the link for more information.
So it's pretty straightforward. There's a page where they just drag and drop the file and it goes straight to us, and we'll edit it all together and yeah, show it on pageant night.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
More than $26,000 has been raised to digitise the iconic West Coast recorder, with Port Lincoln volunteers teaming up with the State Library. It's hoped the first section will be ready to share in time for Christmas.
A rare snapshot back in time. Port Lincoln's first printing press was once running hot, helping produce and distribute the West Coast Recorder.
Back in those days, the newspaper was the only way people found out or knew about anything that was going on.
The paper serviced the entire Eyre Peninsula, from Tumby Bay to the Nullarbor and everywhere in between. But in 1942, the press fell silent. Nearly 80 years on, it's now being revived in a digital format.
So much history is locked up in those old newspapers, so we're going to have all access to it.
After months of fundraising, Port Lincoln volunteers have now raised more than $26,000, which will be used to digitise the entire paper.
Sedona Hotel have put $1,000 towards the project, so it's been wide and varied.
Port Lincoln Council donating $5,000, while a generous unknown benefactor gifted $10,000.
I knew we'd get there. There's so much, if people understand the importance of what's in the old newspapers.
More than 38 years and 16,000 pages of the paper will be digitised, with the first section expected to be online in time for Christmas.
It's going to be amazing to be able to look at the whole issue, the whole lot of those papers once they're on Trove.
The team says once they're done, they'll then move on to digitising the Port Lincoln Times. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Lifeline Port Augusta unveils new donation bins, and South Australians urged to be ready to get their travel vouchers later this week. Port Augusta's Lifeline store has introduced new donating bins, located at the front and back entrances. The bins have cut down on dumping, with staff saying they now receive more saleable items.
It's been an issue in Port Augusta for some time, with unwanted items being left in front of these bins. But things are starting to change thanks to these new bins, which are helping reduce dumping.
A lot of people tend to dump things, especially when they're not seen and at night, whereas at the moment we've got those bins and we're getting really good sellable items, and the things that get broken they're bringing into the shop.
Items can be donated during the store's opening hours. Sharon says the quality of items has greatly improved since introducing the new bins.
It's about 20% we would get that we can sell in the shop. The rest would probably go to export. Goes overseas and they make rugs and mats and all sorts of things.
The store seeing a high number of customers since reopening its doors in the wake of the COVID lockdown.
We've been very busy. It's been great. Lots of donations still and very busy.
Lifeline highlighting the importance of stores like this one, saying donations can support those in need.
Everything we're doing is for suicide prevention.
If you or anyone you know needs help, contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A special cricket bat signed by South Australia's captain is up for auction tomorrow in support of an important disability service provider. Co-signed by Police Commissioner Grant Stevens and Redbacks captain Travis Head, the money raised will go to the York Peninsula Leisure Options. It's the second cricket bat up for auction, with the first raising $8,000 for the organisation. The auction closes on the 14th of November. South Australians will soon be able to get their hands on travel vouchers, valued at up to $100, as part of an initiative to help tourism operators. $4 million has been put towards the programme, with the vouchers going towards paying for accommodation across the state. $100 can be used in Adelaide CBD hotels, and $50 can be spent in regional and suburban accommodation providers. The vouchers will be available to South Australians over the age of 18 from 9 a.m. on Thursday. Time now to see how things are shaping up when we head to the Bowser. Here's Nathan Regter with this week's Fuel Watch.
With school holidays now over, petrol prices across our regional centres have seen a marginal dip. Starting with unleaded, and here in Port Lincoln, it stayed the same on $1.21. Whyalla will be feeling some relief in the hip pocket, with the Steel City seeing the biggest drop in the region, now down to $1.19. Port Augusta has stayed the same on $1.19 as well, while Port Pirie has seen a 1 cent dip, now averaging $1.15. Kadina and Broken Hill were the only centres to record a rise, Kadina marginally jumping to $1.17, while the Silver City is now on $1.24, the most expensive in the region. Adelaide drivers are all smiles with unleaded under $1, the city averaging 98 cents a litre. Moving over to diesel now, and it's looking good to fill up the car. Port Lincoln has seen a 2-cent drop, averaging $1.14. Whyalla and Port Augusta stay the same, $1.17 and $1.18. Port Pirie is the only centre to see a jump, now sitting on $1.15. Kadina, Broken Hill and Adelaide have all seen a drop, $1.16, $1.25 and $1.07 respectively. Moving over to Autogas, and it's a bit of a mixed bag. Port Lincoln has seen a slight 3-cent decrease, now averaging 89 cents a litre, while Whyalla has fallen back to 87 cents a litre. Port Augusta has stayed the same on 89 cents a litre, while Port Pirie drivers are seeing red this week with a marginal rise, taking their average price to 81 cents a litre. Kadina and Broken Hill have all stayed the same, 89 cents and 83 cents a litre respectively. Adelaide has seen a slight rise to 64 cents a litre. Now remember, these prices are the regional averages and do not reflect any one particular outlet. And if you do find a spot that does sell unleaded, diesel or Autogas for cheaper, make sure to let us know on our Facebook page.
Stay with us after the break. Britt will join us with all the latest weather details. That's coming up next. Hello again. It was another fine and sunny day across our region today, with temperatures nudging 30 degrees, and it's set to heat up heading into the middle of the week. With all the latest details, here's Britt.
Thanks, John, and good evening. It sure was fine and sunny today, with Woodner recording the region's high of 34 degrees. It reached 32 at Port Augusta and a top of 30 at Broken Hill. Port Pirie also saw a high of 30 degrees today, Clare 27, Kadina and Cleve both 23. It reached a top of 22 degrees at Whyalla, 21 in Adelaide and 18 at Port Lincoln. From the satellite today, we can see mostly clear skies over the Spencer Gulf under a high pressure ridge, with a trough causing storm activity to our west. Moving on now to tomorrow, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Winds southeast to southwesterly at 5 to 10 knots, but reaching up to 15 knots at times. Seas below a metre, with south to southwesterly swells reaching up to 1.5 metres in southern waters. It's looking to be a partly cloudy day at Port Lincoln with a top of 27 degrees. Cleve mostly sunny with a high of 34. Woodner sunny and 36 tomorrow. Whyalla mostly sunny tomorrow with a top of 33. Mostly sunny at Port Augusta too, reaching 35 degrees. Kadina mostly sunny and 31. Port Pirie mostly sunny with a high of 33, a top of 30 degrees at Clare, looking mostly sunny tomorrow, and it'll be mostly sunny at Broken Hill as well, looking at a top of 31 degrees. Taking a quick look ahead to the end of the week now, showers forecast about the Lower Eyre Peninsula on Thursday, with strong winds and areas of raised dust about the Broken Hill area. Cloudy skies over the west coast and York Peninsula. Elsewhere, fine and partly cloudy. Warm temperatures with a top of 35 degrees expected at Port Augusta, Woodner 33, Whyalla and Broken Hill both 32, a top of 31 for Port Pirie, Kadina 28, Port Lincoln 24. Friday, fine and partly cloudy at Broken Hill with a top of 31. Port Augusta, fine and 29, but showers expected across the remainder of the region. Port Pirie 17, Whyalla 27 for Port Pirie, a top of 25 for Woodner, Kadina 23 and a high of 19 for Port Lincoln. And finally now to Saturday with showers forecast over most parts. A top of 29 for Broken Hill, Port Augusta 25, Woodner and Port Pirie both 23, Whyalla and Kadina 21 with a top of 17 degrees for Port Lincoln. And John, that's the weather, and with that, it's back to you.
Thanks, Britt. And that's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we'll be back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Until then, on behalf of the team, enjoy your evening. Good night.